with any digital mixer, what you want to concentrate on, and the word we want to use is workflow. It's like a computer. Anything you do can be done a multitude of ways. One way will make more sense to you. I'm going to find a way that I think makes sense to me, but just keep in your mind, if you want to achieve something, read the book. There's probably another way to do it. And as you do things, you may ask yourself, you know, are you making too many moves? Are you going too far? If you're having to reach around something to get to something that's right under you, there may be quick ways to do things. The board is laid out into sections. These are primarily your input faders. There are 8. And although these are primarily inputs, they can be outputs too. It's a digital mixer. This is nothing but a controller. And what decides what these 8 faders are is this row of buttons. It could be channels 1 through 8, 9 through 16, 17 through 24. You do not have a 17 through 24 or a 25 through 32 as jacks. You can purchase things that give you those inputs. You do have a 17 because we mapped out a 1/4 inch auxiliary input to show up on 17. And if in the future you come up with more things that plug into that auxiliary section, we'll probably bring those up in 18, 19, you know, so on. You don't have a 25 through 32. This one here, aux-in 1 through 6, and USB REC for recording. aux 1 through 6, aux-in, those are extra inputs. 1 through 6 are 1/4 inch type inputs that are plugged into the back. Your wireless mic is plugged into number 1 and mapped out to channel 17. So it is nothing when you're on this layer. But here's the important thing about this. Right now, my phone is playing into aux 5 and 6 through this cable, through these RCAs. 5 and 6 has a couple extra connectors on there. So you can see the meters bouncing. This is my phone. The USB recorder, which is this USB port here, which this does a number of things, stores scenes, but one of the things it does is record and play back music. And I'm going to hit play. Also has a gain on it. That is that. We'll get into a little bit of what I just did later, but I just wanted to let you know on the layers. I'm going to turn this off. Meter goes away. The main point of that was this layer has 1 through 6 1/4 inch inputs, which you're not really using right now. The important thing is these last 4. This is 1/8 inch.
Right, for your RCA jacks.
And this
It's to USB.
is to play back things off of here.
Now,
you notice
when you say layer, you're talking about like this is one layer.
Yes.
This is one layer. This is one layer. This
Yes.
is one layer.
Yes.
Okay.
As we keep going down the layers, there are your effects returns. You know, you have an internal effects system here. These effects have, they're stereo, so each one has 2 outputs. We have 4 of them set up as, by default from the factory, they're set up as echoes and delays and chorus and things like that.
Can you see?
Okay. Those return through here. There is one. They'll stay here pretty much all the time.
Okay.
We'll determine how much echo you have from the input side. This is the output side. Okay. This is where it stops becoming inputs and becomes outputs.
Okay.
Bus 1 through 8 master.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to jump over and talk about the fact that this is your output section. Bus 1 through 8 master. Well, this is the master section. Bus 1 through 8, same thing. They're just duplicated. The reason it does that is to give you options on your workflow. There may be a time, I can't think of one right now, but I have come across things where that is an advantage. There's no reason they shouldn't put it there. 9 through 16, same thing, they're duplicated. One thing about it is, I can't think of it. Really, this is identical to this. Oh, excuse me, I was backwards. That's identical to that, and that's identical to that.
And these are controlling the output to the speakers.
Well, outputs to many things. The output to the main speakers is really happening through a dedicated main output. That main output is actually feeding some pieces of this mixer that are doing all the processing for your system. That is through the matrix. Matrix and mains. You'll never, really the only thing you should ever use this for is if something's not working right, you should check certain things. One, your main is up. Well, of course, I know it gets a little ridiculous, but make sure it's plugged in and turned on. You'll know that. But you know, when you start doing the things that should be obvious, one of those things is to go to your masters and make sure they're setting up here on Unity, the matrix and main C. Let's do this. Just make sure they're all there.
When we say Unity, we're talking about 0.
On the 0, yes. Actually, all of your bus masters, it wouldn't be a bad idea to keep them on Unity, because there'll never be a time that you don't, you know, if you ever use that bus, that master will need to be up.
Okay.
So realistically, bus 1 is the most important for you because that's where your monitors will be.
Okay.
Right, well, right, exactly. These are, like on your analog mixer, you have, like aux 1, you can put it on the channel, but you have to have that master up. This is the master level for your monitors, your main, everything. That is your bus outputs are your master. The reason that went down is because it doesn't exist. There is nothing there, actually.
Okay.
If you'll note, when you hit the select button, nothing shows up in this particular layer, only layer where nothing exists. There is one other thing that this group does, and that's called DCA groups. DCA groups are a way to grab faders in all these layers and just put them on one fader. It's like going in and actually physically grab them. I'll give you a quick example of how this is going to really help. Well, let's say you had a choir. There are 4 microphones on the choir, and you turn those up, and here's the ladies and the men. For some reason, you end up with these faders. You blend them, and you want all of those on one fader. You simply make sure you're selected on the group, DCA group. Hold down the select button, pick those 4. Now this, with that down, these make no noise, and there's your choir, boom, all in one. So if you're down here on another group, you always have your 4 choir mics. We will probably set that up so that your handheld is on one. If you have a lavalier mic or something, just your tracks, instead of having to pop over to this layer and adjust this or this, we'll just have it right here. As a matter of fact, let's do that. I'm going to do it right now. As a matter of fact, why don't you do it? First of all, we needed to discuss, will you ever play off of this? I kind of doubt it, because you can't just put MP3 files. It's going to be one particular, it has to be, recorded a certain way, and usually right off the board is the way to do that. So I don't know that you'll ever use that. If you thought you did, you can always go back and do this. But we do feel pretty sure you're going to use this.
Oh, yeah.
And that is on these faders. So if you will assign whichever one you want, I'm just going to pick this one for some reason. I want you to assign these two faders to DCA group 8.
Okay, so you select it.
Go ahead and make some noise so you can turn it down a little bit. Nope.
No.
Nope. We are on group 8, so
Okay.
you just hold down the select. Okay, that's on 7. That's fine if you want to put it on 7.
Where'd you have it?
8 is where I had in mind for some reason. I don't know why. And now just while you're holding it down, okay, it went away because, okay, all right, pull that all the way down. I'm going to put that there. Now that fader, so your music is always there. No matter where you're at, you can always grab this.
You can be in any other layer and always turn that up.
Yes,
per se.
yes. And you have 8 things to do that.
8 choices.
That can be one fader. It can be all faders. It can be any number. So
Pretty cool.
one of the most valuable things about digital mixers, and when analog mixers came up with a feature called VCA, voltage controlled amplifier, they call it a DCA because it rhymes with that. That's the only reason they call it that, because audio guys have been doing it forever. It sounds familiar. So it's just a way to control and grab other faders. You will probably take this microphone. Let's just take this microphone and run through getting it in the system. We'll also do the same thing with the condenser mic that you just put up. So if you remember, I put this. This is in channel 17. Take that off of there so that let one of you guys.
Randy, go ahead.
Yeah. This is in channel 17, so you have to find channel 17 first. Very good. And something I've not shown you yet is that you have to select that channel. Once you select that channel, if you'll notice, things up here change. This section is your channel strip. On your mixer, you have a line up above.
Right.
You have EQ, auxiliaries,
Highs,
send to
lows.
monitors, highs, lows, all that. This not only has EQ, but it has a lot of processing that a lot of people install in racks. We'll show you those so that you'll know really how to keep out of trouble. If something's not sounding right, you just turn off something that's on that you don't know what it does, and it's probably going to work for you. Okay, so you selected channel 17. You didn't see me do that. Okay, I'm talking. We see a little bit of signal there, so we know we're getting something. Now this is a meter for whatever's selected, but you still have a meter on every channel to see, if something's bouncing, you'll know that there is a signal there. So to get that up, you will slowly move the fader to unity, and it will probably not be loud enough. Then you will raise the gain until it is probably, what we usually do on a mic like this is set that gain to a point where it's usable for most anybody. And that sounds good. It's not feedback. So if you did it here, hey, I wouldn't do it there because as long as we're not, hey, woo, we're not coming, okay. Hey, you notice they go from green to orange to red. Hey, you want to kind of be in the orange. I can yell pretty loud and not get it into trouble, so that looks like a good place. And then you just, you're done. Things you can do with it while it's in a channel is EQ. The first thing you do is gain. The second thing you do is decide how it's supposed to sound.
When we back out of this, when we get out of channel 17 and go into something else, when we cut the board off and come back, is it automatically saving that
Yes.
gain that he's put in there?
If we unplug this mixing board right now, it will come back exactly the way it was when you pulled it.
Okay.
Is this this mic is plugged into 17 in the back here. How do you
It's
know?
actually not. There is no 17.
That's not this mic is not the best example of that.
Uh-huh.
1 through 16 up there on your stage box is 1 through 16 here.
Okay.
This is an exception to that rule because it's some of the limitations of the board.
Okay.
This board has 6 extra quarter-inch inputs, and we mapped that to channel 17. So
So we
I know
wouldn't
I'm-
take up one of your microphone inputs.
So we could have all inputs up there.
you actually have another 16 you can put in. It's just that you have to buy extra hardware to get them in.
So,
And this has a little bit of extra hardware built in called the auxiliary, extra inputs that you can assign for different things.
so can you use all 6 of those inputs on
Yeah,
channel
you can.
17?
No, well, you'd have to take and put them through 17 through whatever.
Map it out to
Yeah.
a different.
But it only works with that wireless mic because that is a line level signal. You can't plug a microphone into it. It would have to be something like, well, you have a CD player. That's where
Right.
you plug it in. You know, it's where your MP3 player is plugged in. It's only for things that already have volume. A microphone doesn't have any volume in and of itself.
Okay.
My question is, when you plugged it into that plug, how did it go to 17?
We had,
You actually go to, I'll show you that. We're selected on 17. By the way, whenever you select a channel, or let me back up, whatever you want to see on this screen has to be somewhat selected. If you look, there's view buttons everywhere. The fact that that view button is lit tells me that I'm looking at a screen that pertains just to that. So the home is a very important button. It shows you an overview of everything for what is selected. Channel 17 is selected, which is this microphone. We can see that there's no EQ done to it. There's no gate or compressor. That's some of these special processors. I can see that it's not assigned to a DCA group because it's DCA. There are also mute groups, which you don't have buttons on here. You could assign these, but forget about those. But that's one of the things you can see. These encoders do have certain functions, and this one, nothing. If you can see, it's blank. You turn it, nothing happens. But it does have a push button, and that operates the phase. Everything on here, there may be an exception, but for the most part, anything you can control can be done from the screen or from the hardware here. Another thing this screen tells us is it in a monitor? Our bus sends, if this was in monitor 1, and I'm going to do it, I'll explain later how it gets there, but as you can see, now it's in monitor 1, it's in monitor 2, 3. Also, if you'll notice, these have black numbers. These are backgrounded in white. That's another indicator. You probably don't even need to be explained that to, but it is whether the bus is pre or post fade, whether it goes up and down with the fader or not.
So if he wanted to plug something into aux in2, how would he get that to channel 18?
We selected this channel. Well, let's just do that on this, and we're going to make this mic go away. Home has all of these tabs. We can, with the right and left button, we can step through those tabs.
Can you see that?
Check. There's EQ. There's a compressor. You actually see the level jumping. Config is where we're going to do this. Oh, by the way, these tabs, if you hit view, dynamic, it goes to the dynamic. EQ, it goes to the EQ tab. You can step through them or hit a view button. Like if you select this and you want to do the compressor, you hit the view and you're automatically looking at the compressor on that channel. If you want to see it overall, the configuration is where you decide that. And source, let's go to channel 17, see what the source says.
It says aux 1.
aux 1. So if you will turn that to aux 2 and hit the button to select that, it goes away because now it's assigned to a jack that has nothing plugged into it.
Okay.
So to get it back, you will turn the source to aux 1. And if you didn't know where this was plugged in, you would just go trace it down and say, well, that's plugged into aux 1, and set the source to aux 1.
That's because you got channel 17 lit up.
So if we wanted to put 18, if we plug something in, we'd go to 18.
Why don't you do that? That way, one day, if you want to decide something in, you don't have to say, now, how was it that we get that in there? That way, your first 6, your.
We're just saying go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
You don't have to have anything plugged into.
Yeah, don't plug into it. Just go ahead and set channel 18 to aux 2. Just keep spinning it to. It should say channel 17 now, or 18.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, just turn that till it says.
Okay, that's source.
Yeah, and if you notice when you turn it, it's jumping down those.
Yeah.
There you go. Yep. Okay, now do that for 19.
Go ahead.
And keep going all the way till you get 6 of them, because those 6 do you no good unless
Well,
they're.
the MP3 is on 5 and 6.
Yes, that's
So you
correct.
just want to do the first 4.
First four. Okay, so those 4.
If we plug something into them right now,
Then
we
you
were
get-
good to go.
yeah,
We
and
could
that
go.
makes perfect sense to do now. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Things we need to do to this mic. Almost any vocal mic. You know the little. What kind of board do you have, Alan Heath?
It's a PV.
PV. Does it have a switch on it either? That, like you cut the bass out. It either says it doesn't even have a. Well, some of them, like a Mackie, have the button that cuts all the bass out. There's all these really deep. Like nobody, even a bass singer, doesn't sing so deep that it goes into those sub lows. So you normally cut those out on most any mic. That is sort of the EQ section. So if you'll go ahead and okay, we've selected channel 17 and just hit the EQ view button. There's your equalizer section, and there should be a view button in there. Yep. Now you can see the EQ.
Okay.
Now, one of the this is a little odd, but the EQ also includes this low cut filter, and if you'll notice, it's in a different section.
Yeah.
And that's because on an analog mixer, generally right up by the gain is where that button is. So they want to make this as much like what people are used to, so they put it in there with it. So if you'll turn the low cut on, you should see on the EQ, you should see it. Okay, there's a little
Low cut.
Now turn that up until we hear the there we go. We got rid of all that. Well, let's see. Is that cutting off any deepness in my voice? There you go. You go all the way up with it if you want to. You just listen to what it's doing. Hey, hey, hey. Now what you want to do is lower it down to where it cuts off what you don't want, but it keeps in what you do. I have a pretty high voice, so at the point where you hear it not really doing anything to my voice, that's kind of where you leave it, because you want it to cut out stuff you're not hearing.
Okay.
If you had 15 mics and they all were doing that low, not only would you hear a rumble, it's eating amplifier power. So it's a way to cut out stuff that
It's not there. Or
it's
doesn't
not
need to be
there. And not only that, if you had 10 people singing, if I was just talking and you hit the button on the hey, 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 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, yeah, you can't hear that. Go down a little bit, hey, hey, you do hear it in the rumbles, but really the meat of my voice is not affected by that. Sometimes you don't hear it at all if you don't have subs. But if you had 10 people singing and you turn them all on at one time, it kind of clears things up. It gets rid of some junk that doesn't need to be there.
If you have someone with a higher pitched voice, a soprano, you might roll that up higher than if you would a baritone.
Yeah. Right.
You know, this is where you start tailoring each channel for
their specific voice.
right.
Yes. This sounds pretty balanced, but the way you use the EQ is, of course, you turn it on, and there are no filters that are adjusted, so you don't see anything there. But if you wanted to do something with the bass, push low, turning it up and down, hey, 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 hey. There is the volume. The frequency sweeps it up and down. So if you wanted to raise up some mid-range clarity, there you go, or cut out some whatever, you know, harshness or whatever. Anyway, that's the frequency. I mean the gain or the volume. The frequency is whether it's bass, mid, or treble, and the Q is how much of that are you grabbing, a whole bunch of it or just a little bit? And let me do this.
Now run that by me one more time.
And, yeah,
That's bandwidth, right?
Yes,
Right.
bandwidth, yes.
So explain that just a little bit. Just
Okay, well you can see what it's doing.
it's just broadening that out.
Yeah, like if you wanted to cut feedback, everything sounds wonderful, just like you want it to sound, but when you get it loud enough, it squeals on you. Now the neat thing about this is you can see this bar of this meter, so if you get, you see where it's at. So let me get this back down here. Generally speaking, I'm going to go another little step here. Generally speaking, the low, you want to keep it down here because it says low. In reality, it can go anywhere. The only thing that makes that low is the word. Any filter can be anywhere. It's very free and it keeps you from having your hands tied, but there's nothing that prevents you from putting the low up high and the high down low, other than the fact that it gets confusing. So if you find yourself wanting to make an adjustment here, you look for the number that's already there. That's number 3.
Okay.
I've got this one. I've got number 1 all the way up here between 3 and 4 right now. The only reason I don't want to leave it there is it just doesn't make sense. No problem with it, nothing wrong with it. You get in the middle of something, you have some adjusted and you need to jump around. That's why they do that, so it doesn't paint you into a corner. It might get confusing, but at least you can. So, as you see I'm highlighting as I move, low, high, mid, and high. If you had a squeal, it looks like a low area. I would turn the frequency till it centers on that, and then I would turn it down. And the feedback would go away. Now, why would you use this? Because you really want to take, it sounds good. You're not trying to shape the tone now. You're trying to get rid of a problem and keep as much of the tone that you're already loving. So if this thing on a standard mixer, that is set to a preset amount and you're stuck with it, you might have to pull too much out and you've messed your tone up. So if you can only take out a little bit to where the feedback is.
Remind me again what this sends on fader button's doing.
Okay, we haven't gone there yet, but I will. But as you can see, the way this, instead of this going back and forth like that, now it wides out, lets you know that is a wider bandwidth and that is a narrower gauge. We're not going to go over that, but if something's not working right and it's sounding bad, you might want to make sure that these are turned off.
Okay.
Unless you know you're using them.
Okay.
And, you know, and that as time comes along, you're going to say, gosh, we have this woman that just, every time she sings, she'll blow us away 1 minute and not be loud enough the next. Well, you'll probably put a compressor so that it tames down the part, you know.
Where she blows it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
But leaves the rest of it alone, you know, only, you know. If your microphone needs phantom power, which the microphone that we used up there did. Matter of fact, what channel did that microphone plug into?
2.
Okay, let's go to channel 2. A couple of things happen when we hit channel 2 that I see. One, you can see that some things change up here. We did put, I'm going to do this so we can see, I put that low cut so it wouldn't rumble. And
I'll put one on 3 so you can.
okay. Brent found a feedback.
Okay.
And he went over, he saw it, and he notched it. If he did not have the benefit of this graph, one of the ways you can do that, I'm kind of go a little further into EQ for you. One thing you can do is turn the fader to where it's almost to the feedback, but it's not there yet. We're going to make it feedback, you know. And he said, you told him about the feedback. He said, I did that on purpose. So you have to make it feedback to know it's there. So you get it just under feedback. You turn it up. Oops, the reason that's gray is because it's not turned on. You turn it up. Let's go high mid. You turn it up. Probably want to make it a little more narrow. Turn it up, and you start sweeping. Now you know what's going to happen when that goes by the feedback point, because you're just under it now. You're almost loud enough to feedback, and now you're turning up one frequency and sweeping it around. When you get to that frequency that's going to feedback, it's going to take off. Wheek! Then you grab the fader. What you want to do is seesaw this back and forth to where it's the loudest possible. And once you know that you're making it feedback, then you say, there's the one, and you cut it out. Of course, by that time, everybody's yelling at you. Why are you making it feedback? Just trust me. I need to make it feedback so that I know how to keep it from feeding back. The method I just showed you is not really that necessary because we have the benefit of seeing it.
So you hook that into 3, right,
Brent? If you notice, there's 2 of them. There one's a harmonica, the other. See, there's several of them there.
So if we go to 3.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Actually, you're on 17 to 19
okay.
there.
So 1 through 8.
3. Okay.
Do we need to give it a little volume on the fader first?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Because you will get nothing out of that mic, because that mic requires electricity.
Okay, so we need to put the...
Yes. Okay, we see a meter there. Hey, hey! Okay, now slowly move the fader up to 0, which you should. The reason I say slowly is you can do it fast, but just be aware that if it starts feeding back, then... Uh-oh, sense on fader is on, isn't it? Yeah, you can go fast, because we know, just want to go to unity.
Okay.
Now we raise the gain up until we get it the volume we want it. All right, why are we not hearing it? Okay, we're seeing meter, all right. We're seeing it go all the way back down with that because something's wrong. Why are we not hearing that? Let's see if I know. First of all, I'm going to go to home. It needs to be assigned to the main output, and it is. It could be, one of my first thoughts is it could be in a DCA group. So, I'm going to go home. Yes, it is. It's in DCA group 1. I don't know why. That's what I was doing. I was showing you that. We didn't go out. So, let's just go to DCA and turn up number 1, and we should start hearing it. Turn it to unity. Okay, now turn that up to where it's in DCA group 1. It's good that happened because it shows us some of the pitfalls that can happen.
Got a problem solved.
Now turn.
Check. 1, 1, 2. Check.
Oh,
1.
You know what? We do want to get that woofiness out of there.
Check. 1.
Yep. And turn it up to a frequency that no, not that one. This one. So we can see it. You can see where it's right in that range, so you want to be above that, like up in here. There you go.
Check. 1.
There you go.
1, 2. Very good.
You got rid of that's one of the first things you do to any.
Just by turning the frequency over to.
Yes. This is a special kind of EQ filter. It takes everything from the point you set it, everything from there down, and puts a very steep bass cut, so that the idea is it eliminates that.
So we still need to turn the gain up till we get feedback, right?
Well, that's not a bad idea.
You turn it up until it's a usable level.
Until it's loud enough. Yeah, yeah.
You don't want to turn it up so high that you're in constant feedback.
Right.
If you can't get enough gain without feedback, you need to adjust the microphone position or something like that.
Okay. But what I'm saying is to set it, do you need to?
Yeah, there's no problem with just going up until it starts to tweak and then coming back a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so we would.
Hey, check. Hey. Right there. You want to kill that feedback? You want to? Okay, watch this. We're below the feedback. I'm going to go a little bit below it. Now, why don't you do the little boost? Well, you can see where it is, but if you want to try that boost, it's in the low-mid range. So hit the low-mid button.
And you can tell that because it's going here.
Yeah, actually, let's make it feedback. Hey! You can see where it is.
Okay.
And there's one up there, too. Woo!
Okay.
Easy way to do it is just keep your finger on the fader while you're adjusting it, and you can ride it and just kind of keep it feeding back at a low level.
Go ahead and stick your finger over here on this fader because you're... all right, I'll do this. I'll find the low one. I'm going to boost it. I'm going to sweep down. See when I go across it, how it does? And when I find it, I can go down with it, and now we've got that. Now let's
narrow it down.
Yeah. Now turn it up and see if we're probably going to just get the high one. Hey! Well, not even. There it goes.
So hit your
So high mid, sweep over to that frequency. Whoops. Cut it. There it goes.
Narrow it down.
Sweet.
It's awesome.
Gives you a lot of precision and a lot of tools to make it sound good.
And now you can get this louder. Hey! Yeah, my guess is if something else feeds back, it's going to be everything at once. So that's probably...
You take out the first two, and beyond that, it's...
Yeah.
But
Sometimes 3, but...
Yeah, it just depends.
Yeah, but generally, people buy these things that kill 12. By the time all those are in, it sounds really bad. And you've got another problem. So, yeah, 2 or 3. We really don't have a reason for that to be in group 1.
Okay.
So why don't we take it out? Go ahead and hit the select button on group 1. Hold down the select button. And there, see, I put all 4 of those in there so just take all those out. Boom. Now, this doesn't have to be up for that to work.
Okay.
That's just a way, all 4 of those. Remember I said if you had a choir of 4 people, that would be all 4 of those mics. Whatever blend you come up with that.
Then you can adjust the volume in that blend.
Yes.
And you can do that with all 8 of those over there
Yes. And they can be double assigned.
for different layers.
Well, for different things. Let's say with a band, sometimes you have drums and bass here, and you have guitars here and keyboards here for some reason, whatever. But then, let's say you have, that's drums, that's keyboards, and that's whatever, all the other instruments. But you want one to do the whole band. So you just take number 4 and make it everything. These, you blend the drums and these instruments and these instruments. You keep this on unity. You blend them however you want to. And then when the band's finished, just turn the whole band down or mute them. But you can double assign them, and that's one of the advantages of using digital things. You can do these magical things that were very difficult to do in analog or very expensive. So why don't you just undo all that we just did? The most important thing I take out of what we just did is if something's not working, that DCA is one of the first places you want to look.
And it'll show it up here, right?
Yes, it'll show it. Go ahead and hit home. That's everything, and you have your DCA. You know what? Let me try something. Yeah, that will work. There's not a way that I know of to select a DCA and see what's in it.
Okay.
But you can select this channel and see if it's.
Yes, you
listed
can
on
just go
DCA
through and
here.
see, is there any DCA? Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Now, we did have channel 17. Oh, we took it out, I suppose.
Maybe make that 1.
Generally, I leave my DCAs on Unity because all I'm doing is, you know, if I assign it there, I'm doing it simply to manage it. When I'm doing a sound check, my DCAs go there. That way, when I assign them, nothing changes to my ears. It's just now I have the ability to adjust it if I need to in a group.
Okay. Now what about the sends on fader?
Okay, there we go. We want to put this into a monitor. Do we have a monitor? Not
I'm
really.
going to get one connected.
If, like the auxes on your board, when you reach up and turn up aux 1 on channel 1, in this case, aux 1 on channel 17, it will feed it to some stuff that eventually gets it out of the speaker. And that is probably the first most common use you're going to have. What we're wanting to do is send channel 17 to bus 1.
Okay. Which is monitors.
It's a send, and what we want to do is take those sends and put them on faders. Sends on faders is a way to flip these faders from, like right now, this is in the mains. If I hit
I don't want.
sends on faders, when that's flashing,
So we go to bus 1. We select bus 1. Then we are looking at it on the screen. Once we are selected on bus 1, which is your monitor
actually
feed.
we're not if we hit, yeah.
Okay, now we're looking at it. If we hit sends on fader, this becomes bus 1 instead of the mains. If we go to bus 2,
The sends on faders are not
Yeah.
on.
we light it up, and then it's there. See, this is changing.
One thing about this board is it does have an input and output section. It's one of the few boards, digital boards, that do. The very first one I knew of many years ago, a French board, did have this, and I thought it was wonderful. This board does have it. So if you hit sends on fader, it's for the purpose of putting them in here. You really, if it's here, this button does nothing. As a matter of fact, I just saw it switch to
So
something.
bus 1 through 8 are monitors.
Yes, well, yes.
And so if we want to adjust the volume or whatever in the
hit-
monitors, how much is getting?
You hit bus
There's
1
two
through
ways.
Bus 1 through 8.
There's two ways to do that. If you're just wanting to see what is in the monitors on bus 1, you put sends on fader, select bus 1, and then let's say, hang on, let me turn the main down so I can hear it go up in the monitor. There it is. It's in the monitor. Now, when you turn sends on fader off, excuse me.
When you turn it off, then you're adjusting the mains again.
Well, here's the thing. It always works in conjunction with a select. And it always works in conjunction with either an input or a bus. It will not work with group or matrix. So it's always with buses because buses are your sends.
Right. So if the group's up there singing, they're going to want to hear themselves in the monitors.
Yes.
So we've got sends on fader.
Here's what's tripping me up. There's two ways to do this, and I'm going to show you one most likely workflow that you're going to do. You're going to go, I need to put something in monitor 1, so I'm going to hit sends on fader and monitor 1. That is what is, okay, let's say you want this microphone, and this microphone. Now, in the other monitor, go ahead and monitor 2, you want this microphone and a little bit of those. So if you want to see what is in monitor, if somebody says, I need some more cowbell in monitor 1, how will you do that? Boom, and then you'll adjust that. That is, you may have to go to a layer, but the most important thing to remember is anytime you grab a fader, you need to know where that is because that will mess you up.
Right. Because if I'm using a wireless mic or something, when I get up to preach, I don't want anything in the monitors.
Right.
I don't want to hear myself.
Oh, okay. Well, here's where it gets you in trouble. You're watching the thing, and it's in the middle of the program, and somebody goes, I need that in the monitor. So you go, sends on fader, monitor 1, put that in the monitor. That's perfect. Okay, you're thinking about the thing and you've made the adjustment. And then somebody goes for a solo. Oh yeah, the solo. You just put something in the monitors. You didn't turn the. You're like, where's the solo? By the time you hear it, it's blowing them away. So one thing I heard early on with the digital console, before you touch any fader, hit a button. That used to work because you had to make sure that you're on the function you want to be. On this board, that's the only one. That's why it flashes. It is a warning to let you know
that you're adjusting.
You're adjusting something besides the mains.
Right. Okay.
So,
How do you, just say you get a DCA group that you want to put into the monitors.
if you notice when we did that, it turned that off.
You can't put a DCA group into the monitors because a DCA group is just a grouping.
It's just a control feature.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with routing. It just has to do with latching. So it's like it latches these channels to that fader.
Yeah.
It's not
So you have
actually
to do the monitors individually.
right.
DCA is the thing that's just totally different than anything else on the board. It's just a convenient way to manage things that you can't get your hands on easy.
So if I've got a CD player coming on auxiliary 3, and that's linked to channel 3 or whatever,
17, 18, 19, it'd be channel 19,
and then she's singing on that microphone channel
17.
17, all I gotta do is hit sends on
Yep,
fader.
yep.
First thing, bus 1 through 8.
Bus 1 through 8.
Then you select whichever monitor sends. So it's going to be number 1 because you've only got one set of monitors right now.
Okay.
It's selected. Now you hit sends on fader. Now you're adjusting the monitor.
What happens if you hit sends on fader before you hit that? Nothing.
No, it's fine either.
Nothing. It's good to get into the workflow of this, that, this. And
And I would say it's a matter of what keeps you from forgetting. I always do sends on fader and then do all
Then
my
the bus.
selections. That's because I know I want to do a monitor. So
Why is that still selected right there?
because you've not gone away from it, you have to hit one of those others to get it. What did you do? Why did you think it would go away? Because you unlit this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that does.
they're two different selectors.
Yeah.
These control what you see here. This controls sort of what they do.
Now
These
keep in
control
mind,
these control
this
this,
does
right?
work both ways. When you do sends on fader, this is everything in mix 1, this is everything in mix 2. But if you want to know what buses this is in, it's only in 2. This one is only in 1. They're all going to be 1 or 2 because we just set 2.
I got you. So if you got 2 different people singing in 2 different locations, you can have you can send their sound to the individual monitor.
As long as you hook it up that way, yes.
Just to give you an idea of why this particular workflow of selecting here works good for me, you're in a band, you say, hit the drum. You do it, you get the drum sounding good. Oh, I keep this on all the time, and I keep it on my monitors. And these are down, and I say, hit that drum. Everybody wants that drum, raise your hand. You want it, and you want it, okay? Then I go to my next channel. There's a guitar. I turn the guitar up, make it sound good. It sounds good out here. Who wants it? Let's see. This person wants it, and that person
That's
wants
when you
it.
got multiple monitors.
Yes.
What you're saying.
Yes.
Which we've only got 2.
But I'm just letting you know that this works both ways. You can hit sends on fader and bus 1 through 8. Those are the 2 magic buttons, and from there,
You can screw up everything.
yeah. But once those are lit up, Once those are lit up, you have 2 choices: select your bus and look at your mix throughout the layers,
Or select your
or select your channel and see how
Individual.
many
people are
monitors
getting that
it's
in the
into.
monitor.
Yeah. It goes both ways. I need to come up with a good, efficient way to explain that to people.
Well, and the majority of what we'd be doing for probably from now for a while, playing MP3s,
Right.
CD player, maybe have a choir, you know.
There's very little that will go on with the monitors. You know, just a vocal mic and a CD player for that.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of what we're doing here is kind of future-proofing you to be able to do more things.
Yeah, well, I
you're-
like it. I mean, it makes
Yeah.
a lot more sense to me now than it did an hour ago.
Well, you do try, you get things too. It's, you know, a lot of people, you walk in and they're like, just tell me, and you know, you actually understand what's
That's
going
why
on.
it's good for Randy
You
to be
said,
here.
you mentioned a while ago if you plugged a CD player into something. Well, we do have this plugged into something, and that is 5 and 6. Okay.
Which we didn't do because we left it on aux.
It's on. It's right. It's on an aux. Well,
Might as well.
oh no. Well, yeah, 17 through 24. We might as well just. Or did we?
No, we only did 4 because we said those were.
5. It's right.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay, let's do that because your layer 17 through 24. If you remember, the first one is this microphone, and we just took jack 2, 3, and 4, and made them 18, 19, and 20. Why don't we take 21 and 22 and make them 5 and 6? That way, all 6 of your 1/4 inches are coming up on that layer.
Go to DCA group.
No, just hit home. Oh no, you're home, and I usually go over to config.
Okay.
Whoops, what's that? Oh no, okay, no, that's assigning the DCA group actually.
Okay.
Yeah, undo that. Wait, light it up and then hit the button. Oh, you know what? What we need to do first is undo all those DCA groups I just did. Yeah, let's do that later. Okay, where you're missing it is you're on the wrong tab.
Okay. Configure. Source. And we want it to be
aux 5.
aux 5.
Okay, now hit your next channel. You're already there. You can just go to aux 6.
Just move it and then select it.
Okay.
Just move it first and then, oh, is it already? Oh, you were there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Wait a minute. That doesn't look right. Source.
Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay.
Now, something just occurred to me too. Your 6 1/4 inches are still showing up on this layer down here. So we need to turn all those off.
You only want a channel to show up on one fader.
Yeah. Because if you turn it up, yeah, you can turn it up twice. I mean, it's just like being in 2 places at one time. And
I think I'd rather have them on the aux in.
just go ahead and let, yeah, that way they're, yeah, that's true. I can see that. That just means instead
That way
of,
we don't get confused.
Well, yeah.
We know we got all our vocals and mics and everything
The-
on 1 through 17.
Well, yeah, the reason that we did aux 1 map to channel 17 is that there are more processing. There's more processing that you can
You
do
need
on
it
that
for
that
this
you need it for that
microphone.
mic. But everything else you can leave on the auxes.
yeah.
In other words, you can equalize it out more.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
more you can do with it,
Uh-huh.
particularly with the dynamics.
With the compressors and stuff. That's things that you really need for a microphone, but you don't need for a CD player. They're thinking it through. They know that's good. You get it.
Okay, so
What you want to do is go back to your channel 17 to 24,
okay,
and then you want to undo everything after channel 17.
okay, so here.
Yeah. Now just turn your source 2 off or wherever you're going to turn it.
Turn it to channel 18. You want it to actually be 18 in case you.
In case you ever get a decent
Yeah.
mic.
There you go. The A.
Okay,
The A's are what's on the mixer.
Oh, okay.
And
So-
that. Oh wait a minute. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we
It's
can't-
not on the mixer, but let me see what you got. A goes to what?
No idea.
Go down.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay, 16. A is going to be your a stage
D-snake.
box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that, you're setting it to an input that you don't have.
Okay,
but
it's
that's
going
okay.
to be 2 then, A2.
Why?
AO2. Because if you took a
A is
stage
just
box,
auxiliary.
no.
No.
There, you have, A stands for stage boxes. You can have 2 stage boxes, A and B. So that would be setting it to channel 2 on stage box A. You don't have any stage boxes right
Equals
now.
channel 7. In other words, you have 16, 1 through 16 here. If you wanted 17 through 32, you would buy a box that has 1 through
Okay,
16
so how
on
do
it.
we undo these?
Just put it on
On
AO2.
A2.
That puts it back where it was from the factory.
Okay.
It's one of those trust us things at this point.
Okay, so aux 3 just goes back on.
Yeah, to AO3. You go up.
Okay. Sorry.
A. No, you got to be on the A's. A3, and this will be A4. A5. Did I do that wrong? A6. Now, A7 and 8. See, that was default. We didn't change those when they're on A7 and 8. And 25 through 32, it's going to be A9 through 16. Because each box has 1 through 16.
Okay.
If you stacked up 4 boxes, 2 boxes, it'd be 1 through 16, 17 through 32. It's just the second box.
Right now, aux 2 through 6 is right here.
Yes.
Why don't you go ahead and select aux 2? And is it on aux 2? Then it's where it needs to be. Now if you'll select aux 1, you'll notice that we've already turned that off.
Because aux 1,
It's channel 17.
because channel 17 has more processing.
And that's, channel 17 is the exception to the rule in a lot of cases. So that's, like we said, the almost first thing, that's not what you want to base a lot of your understanding.
Okay.
Is this our microphone or is this
Yes.
your
No, that's yours.
How many of these do we have?
Wireless? Just the one.
Just one?
We've got 4 more mics up there.
You've got 4 vocal mics that match that, and now you've got the 4 condenser mics that you can use for various
But
things.
the other ones are wired mics.
They're wired mics, yes.
That
But
plug in up there.
right.
So where's the receiver for this mic?
It's mounted in the rack.
And plug in the auxiliary one.
One of the things you may want to do on those microphones, if you want a starting place, you can either do a library so that all the settings for that mic is something you like. Every time you plug one in, if you always have to EQ out those 2 EQ points and whatever, make it sound good. Anywhere you put it, it works. You want to save that so the next time you don't have to manually do it. You can just go recall and that whole channel pulls up just like you.
Okay, so help me out with this.
Same channel.
If we want to do, okay, me and Randy come in here Wednesday, we're going to have play practice. Okay, got the mic set up or whatever, we get them situated, we run through it, get them adjusted where we want it. But we want to save it in a scene like you were talking about.
Right.
Like say, which, and I know Randy don't know what I'm talking about yet because I think that was before he got here. How would we go about saving that scene? That way when we come in here, just say somebody come through and mess with it or done something.
Right.
And we say, well, man, the stuff's set up for the play. Well, we know that scene 2, scene 3, or whatever is the one we got set up for the play.
Right.
How do we do that?
That is done through scenes, of course. So if you'll hit the scenes button, it's one, yeah.
Okay, scenes. 99 is AAA. That's the one that we got set up right now.
Yeah, let's
That's going to be
go.
our default.
And you know what? Why don't you just go up to number 1 right now? Just you twist.
Go ahead, Randy.
Let's see the same, yeah. And we'll probably make 0 a 0 out point for you to start from scratch every time. Okay, just hit save. You want to save it to a scene, not to a USB. That over here. Just look for, you want to save it to a scene. Scene number 1, that was the button you were turning. And if the little black one's underneath that says save, that's a button press.
Okay, so we want to save it to 1.
Now it's going to ask you to rename it.
So then you just put in whatever scene you want.
Yeah, backspace is where here. Okay,
So
and
let's
then
name it. Oh. Go back.
what happened?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay, you
There
just
we
name
go.
it. Yeah, hit the backspace it out.
Okay.
Now here's the way this works.
Character set. Okay, I see it.
Yeah, it actually has. You can go between capitals, lowercase, and numbers.
Okay.
So, character
Can you plug a keyboard into it?
A. Yes. Well, no, that's where the apps come in. That's if you want to do a phone app and all that kind of thing.
Or an iPad or
Yeah,
it's much
iPad.
easier.
Android.
Yeah.
tablet.
Yeah, it's Android, but you just need a little router, and that is the. I think you can plug directly in. Yes, you
So
can.
we
You can
wanna name it
Ethernet
A.
straight into the board.
You have to manually configure all the IP.
We'll name it ABC.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then
Save.
Yep.
Now, what
Okay.
did we just save there, though?
Nothing yet. Right?
Yeah, we did.
Everything that's already on the board.
Yeah, the board is just like we left it.
What
You
if
know,
we wanna
everything we
change it?
just did.
Okay. Mess it up.
Oh no! Who let their kids run around in the church and do stuff like this?
Works
Yeah.
for me.
Okay. Now hit recall.
Actually,
Load
No.
settings?
no. Actually, you know what you need to do? Just look for the word that.
Go.
Yep. Are you
Load
sure?
scene. Yes. We're sure.
Boom, you're back.
Okay, but how will we start from scratch and make our own
You
scene?
set Scratch up and save it.
Yeah,
You
that's
don't
whatever
necessarily have to zero everything. You can do
You
it
can
in-
start from where you're
You
at,
can start from where you're at,
set
make
it,
it what
and
you
then
want.
save it.
Exactly.
Okay,
The choir
so
and the piano sounds good right where I've got it, then I can
Save.
Exactly.
save
yeah.
it.
So we don't have to
You
zero
don't have to,
everything
no.
back out,
No.
and then
Yeah,
All
you
right.
can
I
you
forgot.
can go from
One thing we do need to do is kind of zero out some things. We did some groups. Let's make sure. I'm just going to go down through. I'm holding the button down, so if I pass up something that's buses don't count, but I don't see anything light up, so there's no groups in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nothing. Oh, look there. Oh, okay.
But that's what
remember,
we wanted.
remember that? We want that there. You remember what that is?
we're in auxiliary.
No.
You're in DCA.
Yeah, you're,
Yeah, but I mean, we're on
Yeah.
auxiliaries.
yep.
DCA 1 through 8. Okay.
The reason we're not hearing anything is because the mains
Oh,
are
it's
turned down. That little magic fader there. That probably should live there.
Okay.
And then put that up to,
Unity.
and then that's. Getting there. So we do want to leave that one there. So all our DCAs. What else did we do?
Just
We
zero-
went to sends on fader.
You just need to zero all your faders out of your monitor sends.
Yeah. They're done. Oh, wait a minute.
Everything was on channel
Let
7.
me do it this way. You know what? I know there's nothing in here, but I'm going to do it just to go through the. Now here's where we're going to start seeing them. All those down. All those down. And we could do it the other way too. We could do this. Select. We're looking at monitor mix 1. We don't want any of those channels in it. Matter of fact, that's probably the quickest way to do it. 2. Down. We didn't really do any others. Why don't we, I think we have most things zeroed out here.
So that's checking it the same
Yes,
way.
yep,
Okay.
yep, absolutely.
Cool.
So
Okay,
all-
turn that sends on fader off and go ahead and save that because we've Well, let's not save it with this up. You may want to save it with either just mute it out, or just have it down to a level that you think.
Well, push it all the way down. That way,
Yeah.
you're totally zeroed.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
you're
now we're going to go to save
Yep.
the scene 1.
Yep.
See right there, Randy?
Now, you know, another thing where your choir mic is plugged to a channel and EQ'd. This is plugged in. This will probably stay like it is forever. The choir mic may not.
Well, those actually, for what they're doing right now, 1 through 4 choir mics
Are always going to be.
Yeah, 5 through 8 would be vocal mics, and then if you plug a keyboard in, it would be 9 through 16. You know, so if you go ahead, that's probably the last thing we need to do before we save a 0 is copy.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. Okay. Another really cool thing about digital mixers. Go ahead and hit your home button so we're going to be looking for there. Okay. Find that choir mic that we EQ'd remember the feedback out of it we did? Go ahead and find that thing.
It was number 3.
That's the one he did. That's the one you did.
Okay.
Okay. Everything about that channel is set up the way we want it. Now, it's important that we're on home right now because we want to copy everything. When we use the copy feature, if I have EQ selected and I hit copy, it's
just gonna
only
copy
going
the
to copy the EQ. So I want everything. I'm going to go home.
Okay.
It's a little tricky. It's a utility thing. The utility button works kind of interesting. This screen stays the same. It just replaces the bottom section of the screen. So hit utility. And as you can see, there's some channels already there. But anyway, you know, I said whatever you have selected, it will copy. Well, all those have orange in the box, so all those will copy over.
Okay.
If you didn't want something to go, then you would uncheck it. Like if you didn't want the sends to the monitors, you know. You may say, I want that to sound good, but I don't want it to go to monitors. But anyway, I'm probably going too far. Just hit the copy, the encoder that will copy it. Yeah. Okay. Now hit the channel you want to paste it to. 1 through 4
Say 1 through 4.
are all going to be the same, and that's number 3. So just make all those 1 through 4 the same.
Hit select on
you have to do
channel
them one at a time.
Yep.
So, yep. And hit paste. Oh, well, no, hit 1 and then hit paste.